This session will provide you with some information on regulation changes in the DMH rental subsidy program. Tenant-based rental subsidy is an option that supports clients moving toward increased independence in housing. This video is a basic overview of the program. There are supplementary materials containing more concrete details to guide you in the process of helping clients transition from sponsor-based to tenant-based rental subsidy. You will have an opportunity to meet with your area housing coordinator and/or case management supervisor for a question and answer session. As you watch and listen, it may be helpful to make note of questions you have in order to bring them to the Q&A session. The DMH practice model is made up of these core principles. Maximizing autonomy is an important component of a person-centered approach, trauma-informed care, and recovery-oriented practice. As people follow their own recovery path, many will no longer need intensive community services. This is a moment to celebrate the work the person has done. In the last section, Heidi and Cassidy detailed the why and how of setting up a sponsor-based housing subsidy. For many of the roughly 1,600 recipients, the sponsor-based subsidy is a way to increase independence and have more autonomy over their own living arrangements. In the video, Heidi spoke of reaching a point where she no longer needed the sponsor-based subsidy. The option to convert a sponsor-based lease to a tenant-based lease provides a supported step between sponsor-based rental subsidy and housing that is independent of DMH supports. It's part of the DMH mission to clear the path of obstacles that prevent someone from thriving in the least restrictive setting possible. For many, moving from ACCS to case management is a way to engage in a less intensive or less restrictive DMH service. As we help folks move along the continuum, managing their own lease agreement is a movement toward independence. This option allows people who have a sponsor-based rental subsidy to separate from their sponsor, which is typically a community vendor agency, and engage in services at the level of case management rather than ACCS. The following are questions for ACCS and the case manager to consider in determining who might be eligible and when they might be ready to shift to a tenant-based rental subsidy. If there are barriers to the lease conversion, some may be addressed as part of the person's CSP and/or ISP, such as engaging with providers, developing a credit history, improving credit score, managing relationships and conflict, or increasing the knowledge and skill necessary for apartment upkeep. See Section 5 of the Department of Housing and Community Development Guidance document for details on eligibility. If you find you are involved in housing-related challenges that require intervention, please talk with your supervisor and/or area housing coordinator to get support or learn about other possibilities. How does ACCS support transitions? In most cases, ACCS teams, along with the person served, will initiate the shift from sponsor-based rental subsidies to tenant-based rental subsidies. If a person currently has a sponsor-based rental subsidy and is ready for less intensive services, track when the sponsor-based lease is up for renewal. Talk with the person about the possibility of converting to a tenant-based lease. Identify any barriers to converting the lease and work with the person to resolve them. Consult the documents that accompany this presentation and ask your DMH area or agency housing coordinator for guidance as needed. After the TBRS is in place, do your best to coordinate a warm handoff by establishing contact with the DMH case manager and meeting all together with the person served one or more times. Review together the tenant-based participant agreement form. How do case managers support transitions? At the point of transition, the person is making two major changes. First, in the kind of services they engage with, and second, taking on a larger role in maintaining their own housing. It is important to have a warm handoff with the previous providers to be sure the person has supports needed to maintain housing stability. When it is identified that a person may be ready to transition to a tenant-based subsidy, contact their ACCS team and/or housing coordinator at the agency where the person has been engaged in services. Set up one or more meetings together to learn about the person's recovery process, identifying strengths and any possible barriers to maintaining their new tenant-based lease. Check in with the person about what kind of support they want around understanding and managing their lease obligations. Review the tenant-based occupancy agreement form that details rules and responsibilities for participating in the DMH RSP. As needed, make a plan together. This may include helping them keep track of and prepare for property inspections. Gather documents such as income verification, birth certificates, and any other related information to keep in one central location. Discuss and implement any other support to set the person up for successful self-management of the lease. Prior to attending the scheduled question and answer session, please take some time to read through the documents accompanying this presentation. Note questions you have or discussion topics you believe are important, including possible barriers to implementing this program and what preparations or processes could make it most effective.